Everybody come through the game on Wednesday, okay?
Yes, everybody's come through okay. Tim comes back into the squad as well. Comes into training today anyway. So if he gets through training, then he'll be in the squad as well.
Any other returnees?
No. No. I'm trying to think who else it is. No. Brandon Cambridge starts training. Jelani Forbes will play 45 minutes tonight against Toronto for Legacy. So that's about it.
Suleiman getting 7 minutes on Wednesday. What does that say about, I mean, I know it's 7 minutes, but I'm sure you did a full regen with him. Did you feel like he's good to go 90 or good to start?
I don't think he's good to go 90, that's for sure. But it was good for him to get, I think he got about 15 minutes with injury time as well. So it was good for him to get their minutes, for us to see him back out on the pitch, and it will give him some confidence as well coming back from the hamstring injury.
I know that you're not one to make grandiose messages. You kind of like to keep things somewhat in, but was there a different air in the training room, in the locker room after the game Wednesday in terms of your frustration?
Yeah, probably a little bit, because we've got players who at the moment are making mistakes that are probably very unlike them. You know, and if it becomes a trend, it becomes a problem. You know, I don't think teams have had to overwork to score goals against us. I think we've given them a very helping hand. There's been a lot of individual mistakes. You know, I've looked back on the goals through this month, and the opposition haven't had to do too much with a lot of the goals. So that's been a frustration and disappointment, because shape-wise, system-wise, we've actually looked all right, but individual mistakes have been costing us, and you can't keep coming back from, you know, conceding 2 or 3 goals. So, you know, my air of frustration came out in the dressing room to the players and told them that, you know, I'm responsible for picking teams and you're responsible for your performance.
The optimist in me will say maybe that makes you appreciate last year a little bit more, but I know in the here and now you want to feel like more of your DNA is the team you saw last year as opposed to what you've seen in the past month.
Yeah, I mean, you can't legislate and you can't coach individual mistakes. And to be honest, when you have 9 games in 1 month, you can't coach too much anyway, because, you know, you're forever, you know, playing a game, travelling, getting back, washing your gear, travelling again. So it's been a really tough month in terms of the amount of games and the amount of travelling we've had to do. But, you know, we've got to be more focused in terms of our individual performance, because I look at the second goal they scored on Wednesday. I could do 100 corners today, and I don't think they'd score that goal in 100 corners. You know, and that's, you know, lack of focus, lack of concentration in the game, and, you know, players have to be better in them moments.
I know your team keeps a singular focus on themselves, but it seemed like they were up for the Columbus game. Is it harder to, I don't want to say self-motivate, but does there maybe come a sense of just a different feeling when you're playing a team that's maybe around you in the table, and like, you know, you're facing a Columbus team that's high up in the table, something like that?
No, I thought the lads were up for the game against Red Bull. I thought they were ready for the game. You know, and I look at the data after, you know, in terms of what their speed, what their total distance was. It was okay. It was up there with the Columbus game. You know, but we didn't make as many big mistakes against Columbus as we did. You know, Columbus had no big chances. To be honest, New York didn't have many big chances. Sorry, Red Bull. They didn't have too many big chances. You know, but the goals they scored were probably inexcusable from us because we made so many mistakes for them.
I know with Pat exiting after this match to international duty, you're looking for contenders. I know you said Edon will be back for Philly, but how much did it encourage you to see the way Tiger Smalls played, not only Wednesday, but has done so lately, got him an Open Cup as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Paddy's been in form, scoring goals. I didn't think it was one of his better 60 minutes on Wednesday night against Red Bull. So, you know, that decision was made and Tiger came on, and Tiger straight away, you know, was a threat in behind. And I always felt that was the way we should play against them. And he's created the goal for Liel to get us back into it. And in my opinion, he created a penalty as well, which we should have been given, which probably would have made it 3-3. But his maturation is really pleasing. I've always said he's got natural ability. I think the big thing for him is making sure he can be a 90-minute player.
I thought one of the bright spots in the game Wednesday night was the combo in, well, I guess, let's go back. Vargas and Abada vying for that right outside midfield position. Why the decision to start with Vargas in these last two games?
The way the opposition played their high tempo, I felt in the DC game that Liel had come on and been a little bit loose on the ball. And I didn't want to be loose against these two teams that we had coming. And that's why Kerwin got the nod, and I thought Kerwin done well against Columbus, and then obviously scored the goal on Wednesday. It's great to have two players, tying and tussling for that position. That's what I want to be in most of the positions, to be honest.
Sure. And then BL and Vargas, I know they have a tight relationship off the field, and I felt like that was the first time we really got to see a few moments of them kind of bouncing off each other and trying to figure each other out. Is that an area that you would like them to maybe try and continue to build on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, relationships are part of the game. If you're a right back, then your relationship with your right-sided centre-back, your midfielder that side, your wide player is really important. Pep and Kerwin have got a tight relationship off the pitch as well, which should help. But another bright spot for me was I thought Eric Williamson played really well. On Wednesday against Red Bull, I thought his passing stats were really good. I felt he controlled the tempo of the game at times as well, and he helped us get forward.
Pekovic, we've seen him a few times in Open Cup. I'm just curious, where you're at with him in regular MLS play.
Yeah, I mean he came back from an injury. He had a thigh injury that I think it's still niggling him. His numbers aren't as high as I would like them in training. So we're trying to get his numbers high so that we can put him into games. He done okay in the cup games, and he's got to now take that into the training, ready to prepare for the MLS.
And then Kalina, I feel like since that Columbus game, we haven't seen him really similar to what he was before that. I'm just curious, how is he doing? Any update on?
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic last season. Everybody knows that.
Sure.
Got the goalkeeper of the season. And with that becomes expectation and pressure. And, unfortunately, he's made some mistakes this season. He'll be the first to put his hand up. But, he's earned the right to make a couple of mistakes. But he can't keep making them because that becomes a trend. He's had a baby, he's moved house, so there's been a lot of things going on. But we've certainly got his back.
Okay. Last one for me is you were just talking about the goals conceded and just the frustration there. When you look back at the goals conceded, is there one consistent thing? I know you've touched on individual play being a frustration, but is there one consistent thing that you're we have to fix this to stop bleeding in this way?
No, and that's the tough part of it.
Okay.
Because you look at the goals and some of them, we've had 3 second phase corners, which we haven't had all season. We've had goalkeeper where we feel he should make saves. There's not many times we've had a centre forward run between our two centre backs like for the first goal. So it's been a lot of individual errors that's been really disappointing. And some, in my opinion, 6-7 of the goals are out of our control as well. The second goal, Columbus. The fourth penalty or the fourth goal on Wednesday, that's out of our control, so I can't really count them.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Go ahead, Carol.
Hey Dane, happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. My wife said she deserves a medal. I said I deserve a knighthood.
There you go. Sometimes that's what it takes. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's done a good job with questions. I just want to follow up on Reem. Is his status change anything going forward for his international duty?
What
With an injury, coming off an
No, I mean, listen, if he gets through training today, then he's in the squad. You know, and then I'll have the chat with him after the Toronto game to see if we feel he's right to join up with the national team. You know, obviously, we want our players to go and play international football, but if there's any risk injury-wise, then we won't let them go because, you know, at the end of the day, we're the ones who pay the wages of the players.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
Good morning, Dean. One question on Patrick. His game against Red Bulls and somewhat ineffectiveness in that. Would you believe that was a case of Red Bull's strategy against him working well and cutting, marking him or cutting off the passes to him?
No, I thought he had a poor game. He's better than that. He knows he's better than that. We spoke about him running in behind. I thought he was loose into feet when it came into him, and he didn't make as many normal runs in behind as he can do. So, you know, and that was the reason he came off on 60, 63.
Okay, so it's on him, not Red Bull's,
Yeah, Red Bull don't change the way they play, so there was nothing surprising about the way they play. Hence, you know, Tiger getting in as soon as he comes on in behind. That was always going to be where the space was going to be. You know, we needed to be tidy up to feet, so if it come up to him, it had to be up, back and through.
And what did you think of Shaquille's game against Red Bull?
I think if you take away the mistake he made for the third goal when he should have played forward rather than inside, and he gave Eric a really poor pass. I think if you take that out of the game, he had a very good game. I thought he was an attacking threat all game. I thought he covered well defensively as well. So he's getting better.
Do you believe his ceiling still hasn't been reached yet as far as what we're going to see from him?
Yeah, definitely. He's a young kid still learning the game. He's probably, and I covered this before, he's played a lot of man-orientated football, you know, in terms of where he's played before. So he's learning a different style at the moment, and you know, as I say, he's a good learner as well.
Great, thank you very much.
Cheers, Steve.
I'll wrap up with Anna.
Touching on Marshall Reddy and Zaha, that partnership, is there, you know, I really liked how they've combined at times and Marshall Reddy providing that offensive mindset. Has Zaha commented on that at all? Like, what is their relationship, you know?
No, he's not commented on it, but, you know, it's probably noticeable. I think Wilf's last two games have been really, really good. Good levels. He's found space inside, which has allowed Jack to go on the outside of him, sometimes the inside of him as well, and make forward runs. And there's been some really good link-up play with him.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
He's just walked in on my press conference as well. Just talking about him as well.
All good, Dean.
Huh?
Okay.
All right. Cheers.